Ultra Instinct is now a thing in the Dragon Ball Super dub because last night on Toonami, episode 110 aired, and that is, of course, Goku versus Jiren, the battle where Goku taps into Ultra Instinct for the very first time. Of course, this is the Omen version, but nonetheless, it's still a very important episode. Really one of maybe my favorite episode in all of Dragon Ball Super. A lot of people's favorite out there, and the dub version is now out. And like I've done before, every time there's a very important dub episode, I'll do a video review on it. So I want to give my thoughts on the dub. Now, before I get into the dub, I want to say that it was good seeing this footage again. I haven't seen the episode for about, I don't know, a few months. I rewatched it again sometime last summer. And seeing those Sheeta cuts and all the great animation all over the episode really brought back a lot of warm memories. Now, that being said, there was an issue with the broadcast on Toonami. Apparently, there was some problems. Now, I'm not entirely sure what happened, whether it be some kind of malfunction like with the codec or something, but during the fight with Jiren and Goku Ultra Instinct, during that fight where they're like scrambling and Tante does the cut where they're doing the really fast hand motions and then Goku does the knee, there's an issue with the way the episode aired where there were a bunch of frames that were being dropped, so it looks really blurry and really not good. Now understand, this is not in the episode inherently. This is not part of the episode. There's some kind of problem with either the broadcast on Adult Swim, on Cartoon Network, or some kind of problem with the file they got. Now, I'm pretty sure that when the Blu-ray for this episode comes out, that's going to all be fixed. That won't even be an issue. But there was a big complaint last night that I was reading up on this morning about drop frames and, it's all blurry and this and that. I'm pretty sure it was a technical problem, not so much that... I don't think Funimation got crap masters from Toei for this. I don't think that's what happened at all. I think it's just something that happened with the broadcast. I'm pretty sure the Blu-ray will be fine. So if you're out there and you're wondering, oh man, down the road when the Blu-ray comes out, is it going to look like this? And I don't think you have to worry about that. We'll see when it comes out, obviously, but I'm pretty sure that it was just a mistake with the broadcast version. So I know some dub fans, I guess, were saying that it looked like bad animation, but and that triggered the animation people, of course, right? Right? But that being said, it was something that was talked about. Now, that being said, the episode itself, 109 was great. I always love the build up there. Patrick Seitz, I think that's how you say his name. Seitz? Yeah, he is the voice of Jiren, and he's been, in my opinion, pretty good, pretty accurate. Jiren's not the most interesting character in Dragon Ball Super, in my opinion. He's not the most interesting character at all. He's more of just a roadblock for Goku to overcome. That's kind of the way I see him. But the way that he's being portrayed in the dub, I think, is pretty good. Also, real quick, I read a comment somewhere that there were people thinking that Toonami purposely scaled back the frame rate because of the flashing causing people to have seizures, like with the Pokemon thing. That's completely, no, that's not the case at all. That's something that's completely unrelated at all. I understand the fan theory behind that, but no, this was specifically a problem with the broadcast version of this. Very weird, very unusual. We never really had this problem before. If you guys remember, way back in the day during the first airing of Dragon Ball Z, one of the issues that the old Z dub had, this is like on Toonami back in the day, is that it was too bright. Like Piccolo was like a light green, like a really bright green, whereas if you watch like either the Blu-ray, DVD, any version of the home video of Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo's darker. But for some reason on that broadcast, maybe it was my TV, but he looked really like bright green. That's the only thing I remember happening back in the day. This is just an anomaly, I would say. Just wanted to get back to that. So I'm sure the big concern for most people is, how was the Ultra Instinct transformation? Was the script good? How was the music? Well, the script was fine. There were a few changes here and there that I thought were a bit unnecessary. For example, at the very end of the episode when Frieza has Goku up against that, like, that rock or whatever, and he points at him, and it's supposed to be a throwback to Namek. In the Japanese version, he just points at him and says, "Oh, isn't this interesting?" or something like that. In the dub, on the other hand, they added a line where Frieza says, "It's just like how it was on Namek," essentially. And it was a little bit too much spoon feeding. It wasn't a big problem or anything. And also, speaking of Frieza, wanted to update everybody on that. Chris Ayres is voicing Frieza for the TV version and for the Blu-ray now. At one time, what was going on was Damon Mills was voicing Frieza for the TV version, and Chris Ayres is voicing Frieza for the Blu-ray. But now, Chris Ayres is caught up. He's pretty much done all his lines for the majority of the episodes with Frieza. So from now on, if you're watching it on television, you're going to see Chris Ayres more so than Damon Mills, unless something happens, his health or whatever. So he is doing both versions now. Anyways, back to the episode. So Jiren, Patrick Stites was fine. Sean Shem was Goku. When he recorded the Ultra Instinct Roar, he said that he had purchased a special microphone. I'm not really sure the technical mechanics behind it, but he was talking about how he recorded it with a special mic just to make sure it sounded good. So when they did the Ultra Instinct Roar, it was definitely very similar to the Japanese version. Obviously with other transformations, they sometimes will incorporate the Uzaru Roar, sometimes they won't. I did a video on this a while back called Goku's Double Voice Explained, for the Ultra Instinct Roar. It actually had 1 million views recently, so I guess people were really interested in that. And you're probably wondering about the Sean thing. It was fine. They did the trick where they had, the screaming, then they had sort of the lower kind of roar, but I could not tell if that was a different actor doing an Uzaru voice, like a grade 8 voice, or if it was Sean himself, or if it was some kind of modulation, done with a pre-recorded audio. I couldn't tell, but it did sound good. Now, the one thing that I gotta say is a bit cheesy is the English version of Ultimate Battle. The Japanese version is supposed to be this big sporadic song, and it is. It's a very sporadic kind of in-your-face aggressive song. The English dub version, what they did here was instead of playing the Japanese song, they had their own English version. And it just sounded too cheesy and too soft. Like, I don't know if I was watching Dragon Ball or a McDonald's commercial with Grimace from like 92. Like, it just came off really, really cheesy. And like whenever you take a Japanese song and you sing it in English, it's always a give or take mixed result. Like if you remember, some great dubs have done great jobs, like the Yu Yu Hakusho song. That's a great song no matter what language you listen to it in. But there are some songs where when they translate the songs over, it just doesn't sound that great. Now, the same thing goes if you have a Japanese singer singing in English. That usually sounds really weird as well because, their accents and whatnot is kind of thick depending on who the singer is. Then, of course, you've got situations where they'll keep the Japanese track even in the English dub, which always it's cool for the hardcore fans, but it's always unusual if you're watching it strictly English dub that you hear a Japanese song, But in this case, they decided to go ahead and translate it, and it just didn't sound... It just wasn't very good, to be honest with you. It just wasn't very good. I think the MVP of the episode was probably Ian Sinclair as Whis. I thought he had the funniest delivery. He had the best lines. I think Ian Sinclair's great. Always been great as Whis. I love how he got so excited over Goku doing Ultra Instinct. Now, speaking of which, we got to talk about that. So, Beerus refers to it as Autonomous Ultra Instinct, right? Obviously, in the Japanese version, he says Migate no Gokui, and I know a lot of folks are probably wondering where the hell did Autonomous Ultra Instinct come from? Is that going to be the new name of the form? No, that was done for mouth flap purposes because now when a character says Ultra Instinct or Autonomous Ultra Instinct, they have the ability to put either one of those two phrases in for the mouth flaps to make everything match up with the Japanese version. So that's why they invented it. It's sort of like the hyperbolic time chamber, like that is a dub only name. It's called the Room of Spirit and Time. But they had to kind of create that hyperbolic part, or at least I believe they did, to make the mouth flaps kind of be more customizable, and that's why. So if you're looking at the episode saying, oh, is Omen now being called Autonomous Ultra Instinct? The answer is no, because Ultra Instinct works the same either way. It's autonomous no matter what. It's automated. It's instinctual, right? I've done so many videos covering Ultra Instinct, it's not even funny. But in the dub, they went with that line, the scene where Goku, and also, the scene where Goku's like, you think he's dead, and Beerus says, he's coming. In the English one, he says, here he comes. I thought that he's coming was a little bit more powerful. I felt it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. It really is a nitpick, but it didn't ruin the episode or anything. But yeah, Autonomous Ultra Instinct. That is the name of the transformation that they are going with. So, hey, it's not really the name, though. Like I said, it's just a placeholder for mouth flap. So from now on, just call it Ultra Instinct Omen or Ultra Instinct, and that's fine. So overall, the episode was solid, even though I still prefer the Japanese. I'm not really sure. The script isn't the problem. It's more so just like I said, the song didn't really come out too good in my opinion. But the episode was solid. It was fun to see it over again. It's still my favorite Dragon Ball Super episode. And yeah, what did you think? Let me know in the comments. Some weird changes this time around, but still, I get it. I really hope that the bad frame rate from the TV broadcast did not turn people off to this episode, because it is one of the best animated episodes of the entire franchise, not just Super, Dragon Ball Z, GT, etc. So thanks again. Hope you have a good one.